Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Murder Theater Podcast, where we talk about all things professional wrestling. I have Tammy Punk down in the corner here. I got Mr. Chris. How are we all doing? It's been a long couple of weeks since we've been back. I'm glad that we are back. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to jump into a lot of different things today. Mostly our focus is going to be on the big event that happened last night, which is AEW's All Out, which was quite an eventful occasion. We'll hear from Tammy and Tammy's notes and see what her press release is and her press docket is. Where'd you get those cupcakes from, Tammy? You got to plug the cupcake company.
A rare and fine bakery called Publix.
Publix.
Down there in Jacksonville,
Florida. The Publix.
Merrill, Arlington.
they're closed Mondays and Tuesdays.
Right. Exactly. They're closed Mondays and Tuesdays, but they're open the rest of the week, right?
At least this bakery ain't there Monday and Tuesdays.
Yeah, and they're not a bunch of dumb shits in there, are they?
Mm.
That have no appreciation for the pros. Right?
Exactly.
Man, All Out was so exciting. It continued throughout the night, I guess. I wish they could have just ran the whole thing. You know what? I saw something on Twitter earlier that said, new strategy, give the pay-per-views away for free and make people pay to watch the media scrums.
No
and quite
doubt.
frankly, fantastic idea.
It was. It got Tammy influenced.
I did. My best part of the whole night.
Can't tell. You look great, by the way, Tammy.
Thank you.
A good match with Mox, Tammy. Good match with Mox.
Yeah.
After everything you've been through today.
On Labor Day, I'm letting you know, but fuck everyone. Cupcakes.
For people who can't see this, and you're on audio only, Tammy right now is paying tribute to CM Punk. We've got a towel here. We've got she's obviously bloodied up from a hell of a match
With Mox.
Yeah, this is something else.
She's eating a cupcake, so she's got her
These fucking
bakes.
people in the fucking locker room need to get their shit together. They don't know how to pay their fucking dues. That's all I know.
Well, that's a statement, is what that is.
Oh, there you go.
Oh shit.
So before we get into All Out, I do want to talk about real quick, and I'm going to let Chris run through the other in wrestling companies. But
We're gonna have to squeeze in everything wrestling into about 5 minutes so that we can talk about everything else.
Everything else.
You know how we can do that? There's a lot of fucking shit we don't give a fuck about.
Okay. All right. Yep.
It's a rare night here at the Murder Theater Podcast. All right, Tammy Punk, we'll get to you in a minute. Hang on a second. Let's go through some things here. I'm glad you're enjoying that.
We can just edit this out in post. It's no big deal.
No big deal. Oh gosh.
All right.
All right.
All right, come on.
All right, let's get rolling here. Enjoy wrestling. The Enjoy Wrestling Cup.
Woohoo!
Oh man, that was so much fun. I really loved
I
it.
love you, Enjoy.
So
It really
to
was.
recap to anybody who hasn't caught Enjoy Wrestling, I know we're a little late on this. I know it happened about a couple weeks ago, but I just wanted to go over it real quick because I thought it was definitely a wrestling highlight for the past couple weeks for me, for sure.
Indeed.
We had the 4-way tag team championship tournament for the cup, for the Enjoy Tag Team Cup.
Brand new tag titles.
Brand new tag
Forget
titles.
a cup. They made it a championship.
They made it a championship, which was awesome. So we had the Runway, the Ephemeral Babes, Violence is Forever, and the Production. Now, the coolest part about this was the way that they set this up. I was impressed. Okay. And I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to say my piece on this and let you guys talk about it. But the coolest part about this was I really, really really thought the Ephemeral Babes were going to win this. Thought it throughout the entire match. You had Willow pins 2 out of the 3 tag teams and eliminates them. I'm like, this is it. They're going to do it. And then out of nowhere, the production takes it. And then I'll tell you, Ziggy Hyam's promo on the mic was gold. It could have been, it could have been on any big company promo, period.
Yes.
If you have not watched it, go watch her promo. She and her partner in the production, they could be the ultimate heels in AEW, WWE, NXT. They would fit right in and they would kill it.
What's his name? His name's Derek Dillinger, right?
Derek Dillinger. Yes, Derek Dillinger, and they killed it.
They are my favorite.
It was a jam-packed match. It didn't have any stops, no stalls. It was all on the entire time. It was like it was perfectly coordinated. All the falls, everything that was going on around it, all the outside ring work. It was gold. So I loved it. I thought it was one of the highlights of that week for sure. So, Chris, what were your thoughts on that?
I love that match. I thought it was fantastic. And you're right. There was definitely some momentum building there for Willow. I kind of think that was on purpose. You know, but I mean, honestly, the production, phenomenal team, excellent mic skills, but for both of them. And really everybody in that match was fantastic. It was a really good time. We have to talk about the runway, guys.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
We owe you the runway. We want to lift you up.
So there was some I think actually maybe they owe us. I'm not sure at this point. We did a little bit of sleuthing for them and fixed an error on the production team of Enjoy Wrestling's part, making sure that they are addressed by the correct names, and that is Tyler Klein and Calvin Couture, just so everybody's clear. We did have a little mix up with that. However, it was because of their own text. It was not on us.
Yes, it's not on
and
us.
we will not be held liable, responsible, or any legal ramifications coming from that at all whatsoever. You know, yeah. So shout out to those guys for being awesome.
Well, we need to do more. I want to tell them, I love everything you're doing. You're fun and you're talented and you're skilled all at the same time. I mean, this is what I love. Like when they come out, they're fun. You tell a story with your whole vibe. I love the whole designer thing, but you come out and you also kill it too. So like every single person in all of this, what is it called when they're all competing for a title? What is that thing called? What do you call it?
A match?
No, not a match. The whole contest thing.
Tournament.
Okay, tournament. I don't know. I'm not a sports person, Runway. You should relate. I'm more about fashion, like you. Okay. So I just want to say that every one of you are just amazingly entertaining to watch and impressive to watch your skill. All of you are badass. And that's why I love Enjoy. And they should get all the credit in the world. And you make sure they say and we say your name right.
Yes. That's right. The runway specifically too. Excellent performers, even better looking, might I add. But yeah, I really enjoyed this tag team tournament, start to finish. I thought the whole thing was great. I thought it had just enough of a story. And while Enjoy, they might lack things in production quality and things like that, they certainly make up for it in character development and character showcasing. I do want to mention the singles match that happened the week prior to that. MV Young did retain his title, but god damn, what a match. It was MV Young, Lee Moriarty, and Trish Adora. So good. Trish Adora killed it in that match. But congratulations to MV Young, hell of an athlete. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot.
Trish Adora's got some strength.
When you say production, I want to just say something about that, because I started to watch the WWE. What is it, Rafe? The SmackDown?
Started watching SmackDown.
The SmackDown.
Oh my gosh. It made me nauseous. I couldn't stand it. I wanted to hate never watch wrestling again if I was going to be forced to watch it in that way. So when you say production, I want to give Enjoy just a little bit more credit that I enjoy watching them.
Their camera work is fantastic. I wish the big show, WWE, all their stuff, and their production team could learn a lot from simplified camera work. The camera work for WWE it's actually a fairly popular talking point. The camera cuts are relentless, and it can be like a little bit fever dream inducing at times. But what I meant more about the production is the lighting, the camera quality itself, the video quality that's being pumped out, and just the overall appearance of a grander, broader, kind of sort of larger than life feeling. The camera work is something differently entirely from that, but I actually enjoy the indie vibe. GCW perfected it, and they still do it every week. But there is something to be said for if you're trying to gain an audience, upgrade your lighting rig a little bit. Even if it's just the stuff they have on the entrance ramp there, just a little bit more lighting, because right now it's kind of bare bones. It's almost like what you would see at like a nightclub or something like that. And if you're gonna push production quality, that would be one of the things I would upgrade, just so you can kind of get a little bit better of a visual.
So I hope Enjoy finds that helpful. And also, by the way, get more of those cute sponsors. We love your sponsors. So sponsors, why don't you go and pay for some more lighting, because we love Enjoy. And actually, we love all you cute names of the companies are fun, and I go check it out. Like, it really works.
Not only that, but they need more people watching. They need a lot more people supporting them. And honestly, they have a fantastic product, and really a lot of people should be watching.
Sure. Yeah. And for the
number one.
Well, and for the budget that they have, out of all the stuff I've seen, it's awesome. I mean, they really do a good job for what they have. I mean, they have the outside talk in the ring, the way, and like you said, the camera work is awesome. You get to see every single thing, every single move. And it all works really, really well. Even though they don't have a lot of cash to spend on it, it's still a very professional show. Even more professional. Like, I mean, I don't want to like talk bad about, but Impact is not that much of a higher level than what Enjoy is.
Oh, I absolutely
Impact
agree.
I'm not like knocking Impact or shitting on Impact at all, but I'm just saying it's close to that, and these kids are doing it in a theater in the middle of Pittsburgh, with almost no budget, and they're just killing it, and it's great.
Honestly, I would genuinely probably be a little more harsh on Impact's production over Enjoy, because at least Enjoy has sort of an underground vibe, and it kind of fits their theming, whereas Impact has been sort of pigeonholed into doing the same thing for a very long time, and it kind of doesn't make sense that their stuff still looks how it did all this time. But that's neither here nor there. I still love Impact, by the way. Don't hate me, folks.
Impact, we're coming to a show,
and I actually have some stuff to say about Impact in a little bit. But this is I think Enjoy it's kind of the best parts of professional wrestling on a budget.
Exactly. And everybody in there, everybody that wrestles in there is quality wrestler. They could be in any promotion and do awesome.
And a lot of the folks over there are in a lot of promotions.
Right. And they're doing awesome.
Congratulations.
Yeah, man. She's a great heel. The way she turned on the crowd with her at the end speech, man, was fucking brilliant, man. I was just like, beautiful. Yes, that was so cool.
She's an MJF level.
And the fact that this is probably something
you're pushing it, Tammy.
No. Let's not testify. No. Hey, no. You're walking on sacred ground here. You better just chill out. But MJF is the king of kings. That's all I've got to say.
No, that's someone else's name. That we can't do that. He is the king of heels right now.
But what I wanted to tell you is, here's another thing that really kind of burns the people that watch Enjoy and go to the club to watch it. Mr. Smalls, you guys probably don't know this, but I do.
Uh-oh.
Ziggy and Dillinger, is that his name? Dillinger, right?
Derek Dillinger, yeah.
They're from Cleveland.
God, I hope I'm getting that right, man. I need to look that up if we're going to be saying it on the show. Now I'm paranoid about it. Hold on.
Eric, is that you?
We're gonna clarify this.
But let
Are
me
real
you
quick.
Derek Dillinger?
Hold the hell on.
But what I'm trying to say is that they're from Cleveland. All right. And Cleveland is the rival city of Pittsburgh because of the football teams.
Started to get that impression watching them.
So the fact that Cleveland won in Pittsburgh really burns their ass. So I love it. So that
confirmation. It is Ziggy Heim and Derek Dillinger.
Derek Dillinger. Yeah, I thought so.
Confirmed you, Derek.
Dude, Derek, you're fucking awesome. So we're sorry that we're not getting that right. So
we got it right.
We got it.
I don't want anybody sending the gavel after us.
Right. Yeah, we don't want the gavel after us. Because then we'll have to break out Mr. Grimm.
Honey,
and
but
you don't want
fight.
You don't want to fuck with Mr. Grimm.
That's right. By the way, anybody watching this on video, I apologize. I am vaping. I know it's probably ridiculous looking and annoying, but I'm trying to quit smoking. So wish me luck and don't hate. Okay, cool. Right. Great.
Yeah.
And also ignore the sounds if you can hear it, because I'm sure it probably like.
And I'm eating cupcakes.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear a word about it, motherfuckers.
CM Tammy is eating cupcakes down there.
Okay.
That's all right. The EVPs are coming for you.
The EVPs are coming. Like I said, you know what slackers they are.
Yes. Fucking EVPs. Don't know.
All right. We'll get into that in a little bit. Come on now.
All right. I didn't start it.
All right. Well, like I said, keep watching. Enjoy. We're going to eventually get up there to watch one at some point. We're going to go to Mr. Smalls. I have to go at some point to watch.
I think we have to go in person. We have to make amends with our boys in the runway. We got to make amends just with Enjoy in general for not promoting them as to a better caliber.
Yep, that's for sure. So Chris, what's happening?
Where's the invite, Enjoy? Where's the invite?
I know, right? So Chris, what else is happening in the wrestling world?
Oh boy. I don't know if you guys know this or not. Maybe I didn't mention it. I went to GCW Sanctified recently.
We know.
I've been watching so many GCW shows. It's like, every weekend they have 3 or 4 shows, and it's really some of the best shit out there, honestly. Blake Christian's been killing it over there. Speedball was recently doing shows over there.
I love Speedball.
Charlie Evans, one of my favorite female performers right now. So many great things. And also Billy Starks, 17 years old, fantastic wrestler. She is unbelievable at 17. I just found out recently she was 17, and I almost shit myself because it was like, oh my God, this girl literally, like, you would think she'd been doing this for like 2 decades or something. But anyway,
that's cool.
Big props to GCW for ripping up the entire world on a regular basis. Thank you so much for coming to Charlotte and letting us have a good time. Outside of that, there's a little bit of stuff going on in Impact right now. Impact, I feel like is...
I've got some questions on that, so go ahead and hit on that, and then I got a question.
Impact, I kind of feel like, is on a come up. And I don't mean in a way where they're getting more viewers or, holy shit, we just lost Punk.
That's our Tammy Punk. Well, she'll have to sign back.
The EVPs came in and went on a tirade.
They cut off her internet. That's it.
So Impact, we've there's been I genuinely feel like Impact is improving their quality and their storylines.
They definitely are in the women's division. Their women's division
I'm getting to that too, for sure. So I mean, just recently we've had a lot of stuff with Bullet Club and Honor No More. Those are like 2 big factions that are doing a lot of things in Impact right now. Speedball, Mike Bailey, absolutely raising hell all over the place, GCW included. But he's still the X Division champion at Impact. And actually Aussie Open is now doing some stuff over there, which is crazy. They're all over the place too. It's
I saw that.
I think there is something changing in the business right now where we're going to see a lot more common crossover stuff. Maybe not with WWE, just because they like to keep their shit proprietary. And they like to make the money on their people, which is, you know, I get it. It's business. It is what it is. And I'll talk about them in a second. But since you mentioned the women's division over in Impact, we just had Jessica debut over there, which Jessica sick, right? Yeah. Masha Slamovich has recently showed up there. Masha's fucking badass.
She's killing it. We saw her on the indies, dude.
Absolutely.
We saw her wrestle at the Taco Fest, man. She was awesome.
There you go. And then
I have
we've got
a picture
VXT.
with her and me and my son.
Nice. But then we've got VXT, Chelsea Green, Deonna Purrazzo, current tag champions in the women's division. There's a lot happening with their women's division right now that I think AEW could look at and say, oh, that's how you do it. I even think WWE could look at it and say, oh, that's how you do it. Because even though WWE's women's division is starting to get a come up, and that, you know, thanks to new management and all that stuff, and they're sort of being taken a lot more seriously now. I think Impact is maybe doing it the best right now as far as the women's divisions go.
They're taking more risks.
Absolutely. And I think
it good.
I really think a lot of that is in part to Maria Kanellis and her involvement, which is weird because 5 years ago I would have been like, Maria Kanellis sucks. But I have a feeling she's had a great hand in the women's division over there. And also the legendary Mickie James, who just recently, there was a lot of rumors and speculation about, is she retiring? Is she not retiring? And she's now starting this interesting thing. It's going to be her last rodeo, where she's not leaving until somebody beats her. So I think we're on to something here. I think if she's going out, she's going to elevate a bunch of people on the way out. And I think that's fantastic. I love this idea. I love the storyline. I love Mickie James. Fantastic, underrated talent for so long. She's finally getting her do-over in Impact. Impact, cheers to you for doing the women's division correctly. So many companies fuck this thing up, and this is beautiful.
They really are, man. I've been impressed, and a lot of the times that's when I don't have a lot of time. Those are the matches I watch. Like I watched the Deonna Purrazzo and Masha Slamovich match. Awesome fucking match, number one. Yep. And then now Masha gets to challenge Jordan Grace for the belt, which is going to be a pay-per-view event, which is going to be sick. You know, I actually
forgot to mention Jordan Grace and Taya Valkyrie. Yeah. Two outstanding talents as well.
Just that whole division kills it. It's worth watching Impact just to watch the ladies in that.
Absolutely right.
100%. So
outside of Impact, in the wrestling sphere and outside of GCW and all that stuff, and outside of all the indies, there's a lot to be said about WWE right now. And just so everybody knows, I have a lot of thoughts about WWE's current product, where it's been in the last couple of months since Triple H took over, how it's so different from the Vince McMahon era of WWE. But that's, you know, I'll do some videos that we can put up on the YouTube about that, because I have a lot to say about it. And there's a lot of different angles and opinions, I think, that I'm going to have to try to figure out how to mesh together in that. I also want to talk a little bit about how this is going to affect the business as a whole.
Right.
And I think there's already a lot of signs out there. A lot of people are speculating certain things. There's a lot of rumors about they're reaching out to talent when they shouldn't be and all this stuff like this. But really, I have to say, WWE's product getting better is better for the business as a whole. Absolutely. Whether it's good for certain companies individually, that's another story. But I mean, honestly, they just did Clash at the Castle this weekend, which was a fairly good show. There's some people that aren't too happy about it, which I get. Roman Reigns has been the Universal Champion. He's, you know, the unified title now. There used to be two titles on Raw and SmackDown. He's got both of them. He's had them for a while.
2 years.
Yes. Well, he hasn't had both of them for 2 years. They just unified them a few months back, but he's had at least one of them for 2 years.
2 years.
And that's, if I'm not mistaken, maybe the longest world championship reign in that company in at least 10 years, if not maybe ever. Which is crazy. And props to Roman Reigns for being an excellent champion, turning his character around, becoming something that fans love to hate. They pushed him as a babyface forever, and it just never worked. And this has been the thing that was like, here it is, it's working now. Outside of that, though, I don't want to talk too much about that because honestly, he has been the champ for 2 years and I'm a little tired of it.
Yeah,
because he was a champ. He had championships and stuff before, and nobody liked him. So anyway, there's a lot of moving parts in this scenario, right? Like this is now an evolving product, whereas before it was very stale, very stagnant. Everything felt the same. There was stories just redone over and over and over again with the same matches every week. It is no longer that. Everything is changing. They are beefing up their women's division. They are making the women feel like stars again, which is huge. And it's a testament to Triple H really in the way that he books matches and the way that he views storylines and the importance he puts on the women's division. Now, you could say, well, that's just because that's what people want. It's not because it's how he feels, but at least he's listening to what people want. Vince never did that. So that's a huge step up in my opinion.
He's also letting them say, I'm a wrestler.
Yeah, you could say wrestling in WWE now.
Yeah.
You could say it. You could say wrestling. You could say professional wrestler. You could use all kinds of terms you couldn't before. You could be an individual.
Wait a minute.
What?
I don't understand.
He wouldn't let him say it.
So what would they say?
Sports
Vince's thing for many, many years was he was not in the wrestling business.
Not just like a made up Chris Jericho society?
No, that's a real thing.
Oh my goodness.
That's where they got it from. That's where the Jericho Appreciation Society came from. That's where Jericho's character came from, was this whole sports entertainment
thing.
It is.
Yes.
This is me, people being totally fucking ignorant.
So for the last 2 decades, it's been, we are sports entertainment. We are not a wrestling company. And now they are embracing professional wrestling. They are embracing people's tenured careers before they go to this company. 2 names I'm going to throw out really fast.
We're going to wrestle.
I don't understand.
Nikki Cross, right? And now Nikki ASH and Dewdrop, formerly Piper Niven. 2 women who deserved far better than they ever received in this company until recently are now being acknowledged as veterans to the business. Whereas before they were basically rookies. They were treated as rookies as soon as they hit the main roster. And now in WWE, you can officially acknowledge the fact that you've been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years prior to getting to this company, which is how it should be. If you've been putting in the work for decades and WWE bought your company or bought your contract out, you should be able to talk about the fact that you did this before.
Sure. And, she would wrestle like Hayter over in England and all those people too. Dewdrop did.
There's a lot of people in WWE that wrestled for decades to build their name before WWE bought them and then was like, yeah, this person is new. It was bullshit for so long. And it's so nice to see the comeuppance, if you will.
So now I've got a really quick question, just a real quick opinion. And
hold on, I have a question too. Right. Have you guys been watching the product a little bit more? Tammy, I know you said you didn't like SmackDown and the camera angles and all that stuff. I highly recommend watching Raw over SmackDown just because it's kind of the flagship show. But NXT is also really cool.
NXT's very good.
I shitted on NXT for a long time. I thought it was terrible once they switched over to 2.0, but my taste is evolving. I'm starting to dig it. Tammy,
what do you when I first decided I was going to hyper focus on wrestling, I did watch something from WWE. I don't know what it was. It was weird because it was like an arena of people on screens and some interesting, fun stories being told that I wish I knew more about. But it was
Thunderdome era is what you're referring to.
But it was all kind of weird because of the whole Thunderdome thing. And then I turned on AEW and I saw Thunder Rosa and stuff like that and Ray Phoenix. And I was like, this is amazing. And then I just went there. So that was my only experience outside of AEW. And then somehow I accidentally ran across Diggy Hyam's reel and found Enjoy Wrestling. So that was my next outside foray from AEW. And then only just recently watched one episode of, what was it called, Rafe?
Raw. We watched Raw.
and I hated the camera
No,
angle.
you watch SmackDown. You watch SmackDown.
Okay, the SmackDown, I was like, I can see the talent of the wrestlers, but I cannot sit through this, and my visual eyes will not comprehend this bad cameraing. So I'm just going to be out on this until one day in the future they come up with better camera angles. So I'm totally fucking ignorant to everything else. That's why I'm such in shock that I thought the Jericho Appreciation Society thing was wrestling entertainers or sports entertainers thing was like just a made up thing by a joke, but to think that it's real is blowing my mind right now, and I haven't
it's totally real.
And so I don't know if I now want to go outside any of this, because I just don't think, like, it doesn't sound fun and it sounds weird. And I think, like, I just enjoy wrestling, have something every night of the week, because I just burrow in there and live there for the rest of my days. But I don't really know what to think about all this, to be honest.
I'm
listening to you all, and I'm learning from that, and I'll dabble here and there. And I am not opposed to any good wrestling or any good stories, but
Chris,
my life has just been filled with a lot of other things that I haven't had the time to explore.
I think I'm going to get her into NXT first because it still has that indie vibe to it.
The thing about NXT though is it's very bright. Power. It's very like in your face, which is part of the reason I had such a hard time with it. Was it's like it's so showy, but I'm starting to like it. And NXT might be a better way to go, just because the characters, it's a little more fun. It's a little more kind of modern as far as like still kind of an indie vibe, not so much polished, perfect sort of we're billions of dollars in your face. I will say this though, Raw is definitely the show to watch as far as better storylines and camera work is a little bit better. And I think that's all going to change up a little bit more as we go. We're getting out of that Vince McMahon era still. Like I said, we have a lot of moving parts. I do think it's going to improve because that's been something people have complained about for a long time. It's just like shot. Like I saw Sean Ross Sapp over at Fightful posted a clip from it was either Raw or SmackDown one night. And there was like 10 camera cuts in like 14 seconds. Wow. And it was absurd. I don't know if you guys noticed this or not. Last night watching All Out, there was a lot more camera cuts than normal.
There was. I did.
Did you guys catch that?
Yeah, I did.
I really hope they're not going that route like permanently, because I don't like it.
No,
I don't think anybody else will either.
It fucks up the action as a whole. You know what I mean? It's like you don't see it as a whole, and it's like, and that kind of messes up. Yeah, I'm gonna get her. I mean, I've been watching.
I think Raw. NXT is probably the better route to go.
Yeah, I'm gonna get her into NXT. Let her watch an NXT this week.
What about these Japanese new pro people?
New Japan.
Like, I love all that. I just don't know how to access that, because
I also think if you're going to appreciate WWE, you should probably. So I had this idea anyway. I think I'm going to start recommending an older match, a legendary kind of epic match from the WWE back catalog, which also includes WCW and ECW. I think every time we talk, I will give you a match that I think is a must watch for a wrestling fan, something that is historic, impactful, meaningful, and kind of changed the way that wrestling went in that direction moving forward. And I actually, you know what? Let me look this up real quick. I just want to make sure I'm giving you the right one. I have one right now that I think you guys could both benefit from watching. Quite frankly, it's maybe my favorite match of all time, and I think a lot of people would agree with this. It is Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon. It was the first big ladder match ever. Let me see. March 1994, WrestleMania 10. The ladder match between Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon. Go back and watch that, because it is the blueprint for ladder matches moving forward after 1994. Yes, there were some ladder matches done before that, but that was the first big one that most people saw that were like, holy shit, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. So that is homework. I'm giving you guys homework.
Got it.
Ladder match, WrestleMania 10. It is unbelievable.
You'll be fine.
Still today, going back and watching it, it's unreal. And those are two of the best wrestlers ever to do it. So shout out to Razor, rest in peace. And also shout out to Shawn Michaels. You were a douchebag for a long time. I know you turned your life around and everything, and he kind of runs NXT now. He's Tripp's buddy. So, but yeah,
Was he
go watch
mean
that
to
shit.
China? Was he mean to China?
Where does
No, they were in their faction together. He was cool to her. As far as I know, he was always cool to her. I think they have a great history. That's a whole show right there, Tammy. I love China, by the way. China was one of my favorite female wrestlers of all time. I just want to say a lot of people thought she was terrible and she was a gimmick. I think she was a fucking trendsetter and was absolutely phenomenal.
She's
And
major influence on Jade Cargill.
She deserves to be at the top of everyone's women's performer list, honestly.
I want to tell a weird story here that when I was a model and I was in Florida.
Story time with Tammy, baby.
So it's kind of, I don't like to get into a lot of this past of mine, but so I was a model and I was on a photo shoot one day. And I had just come to Florida for a photo shoot. So I was really young. I was about 15, 16, probably not 16, probably like 15 years old. And I was on the set of, we were filming stuff and things were being shot at the beach in South Florida. So I want to be a little vague about it. And so that day.
Why are you vague about something that happened 30 fucking years ago?
This is going to relate to a wrestler. This is going to relate to wrestling because when I was there was a wrestler, a female wrestler that I knew nothing about wrestling. And she was the coolest person to me because I was actually too young to be there. So I was younger than I was like supposed to be. And so I was also very pale because I came from Virginia and it was like March. And so there was all these like really tan like people and I had just cut off my hair. So I felt like a weirdo in this whole situation here. And there was this lady who had this like long, like kind of high ponytail and a fucking bird on her shoulder, and she had fucking been doing matches in Japan, and she was an American though, and she was like super fucking cool to me, and she was like, come have lunch with me. So she paid attention to me when I was like nobody was really being mean to me. I just didn't belong there, if that makes sense. Like nobody was bullying me or anything, but it was just an awkward thing. It was like there's a piece of the puzzle that doesn't look like it belongs, and it was me. And she, out of her kindness, just was like, hey, how are you doing? I have an extra seat at my table if you want to sit here during lunch. And in the modeling world and in show business world back then, people were not cool to each other. Like they were notorious cutthroat bitches. And basically you weren't friendly to people and like, you just didn't do that. And so it was extra cool. So one of the scenes we had to film that day was in a pool doing gladiator style games. And nobody would
like American Gladiator style.
Yes.
For all you millennials and youngers out there, American Gladiators was a show in the late 80s, early 90s. It was super rad. It was kind of like a Wipeout or that show that The Rock did recently or something like that, except it was just a bunch of badass giants that beat the shit out of normal people through a series of obstacle courses and races. Go ahead.
That's exactly what it was. So that was the scene we were doing. So we had to come up against each other on these floats in the pool with like giant things that you bonged each other with and stuff, you know, and nobody wanted to come up against her because they knew she was an actual professional. And she was there just hanging out for the day, just collecting a few dollars. Like you could tell she knew the crew and nobody else really mattered. She was just like, I'm here, I'm going to collect a few dollars. Okay, I'll get out there and do this gladiator thing. And I was the only one that would do it against her because I felt like, okay, I know I'm going to fucking probably lose because this woman is badass, but I don't care. I'll lose against her. And so just so we can get on with things. And I thought she was really cool. So I went out there and of course I lost my balance on the floaty thing. Like it was hard for me to balance myself. So I never really got a chance to really fight her because trying to fucking balance myself on a floaty standing up in water to try to fucking box with somebody was really weird. Like I just didn't have those skills. I had never practiced them. But
Tammy's a land fighter, folks.
I'm a
you get her
land
on
fighter,
solid ground.
exactly.
She's dangerous. You put her on the water, it's easy pickings.
Thank you. Thank you for that endorsement. Back in the day, that was probably true. So, anyways, it looks back. So I knew nothing about wrestling at the time, but now looking back, we think that it was like one of two famous female wrestlers from those days, and one was the Vashon, and
Luna
the
Vachon.
other
Luna
was
Vachon,
yeah,
legend.
she had the same. She had the same ponytail, and she lived in Florida at the time. And then there was Mad Maxine, who had the parrot on her shoulder. You know, and they both kind of looked like each other. So I'll never know which one it was.
I think it was Mad Maxine, because there's like a lot of pictures of her that describes exactly what Tammy saw. It's like got the big
That's
hair,
pretty
the
wild.
ponytail.
This
She
is
had
the
a
craziest
bird.
story I've heard in a long time.
And she had a bird.
So for anybody listening or watching this for the first time, we've mentioned this before, but Tammy is my cousin, right? I had never heard this story.
I don't tell it.
Tammy
Like,
has
I'm
a lot
now
of stories that I
regretting
didn't
it.
hear growing up, because she was always very careful. Well, not always very careful, but usually was pretty tame with the stuff that she would influence me with. This
True.
story is fantastic. I love this story. I'm so glad we got it on record.
It's true. I
This
did
one's
try
going
to
in the books.
protect him from my crazy life, you know. I
And
did-
also introduce me to things I never should have been introduced to, but that's okay.
Oh, really? Which one?
No, we'll get into that at
Okay.
another
I
time.
have
That's
to
not
find
for
out,
this
'cause I
podcast.
swear I did not give him cocaine, people. Okay.
We can
That's
do a
all.
deep dive podcast one day of how Tammy corrupted me and ruined my brain.
Okay, we can do that, but I assure you it was not cocaine. Okay. Okay. So next thing, yeah. So anyway,
What the hell?
I'm just saying it wasn't anything that terrible.
There was no substances. I'm just referring to like interests and
Uh-oh.
hobbies and stories and
Yes.
behavior. And
Uh-oh.
you know, I can immediately the Skittles at the movie theater comes to mind. But we will move on.
A story for another day.
I actually love that story. It definitely wasn't China though, because the timelines just don't add up.
Yeah,
if it was Luna, that's fucking rad, man. I always loved her. I thought she was great, and she was like one of the first women ever, I think, to ever have a camera on her that had an undercut. By the way, with the head tattoos and shit.
That's right, with the head tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I would have known what I know now about wrestling and women, and that it was one of them, because after talk, I knew nothing. They had just gone to Japan, and we had lunch, and we had this whole conversation about it, but I knew nothing about it. But
You
all
saying
I
Japan
know,
immediately makes me think it was Luna, but it may
Yeah,
have been.
me
It could have
too.
been anyone.
but the thing I wanted everyone to know is how kind and sweet and thoughtful to look out and see the person that was different in the crowd and want to invite them to sit at their table, because like I definitely did not belong there, and I didn't look like anybody else there, and I felt really uncomfortable why I was there, and not because of anything bad, nothing bad, just me. It felt like it wasn't my world, and to have some older person come and be like, hey, come sit at my table, I think that looking back, that touched my heart, that somebody was an older woman looking out for the younger person, knowing what kind of world I was in, because I was modeling, and it was like late 80s, early 90s, which was very predatory. And I just think it's so fucking cool. So I feel like I owed her when it came time to come to battle on the fucking water and the floats, that I should come up and say, yes, I will do it, because nobody else would. And she needed a challenger.
That's funny.
I
What a great
lost,
story.
I lost with honor.
That's funny.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that, Tammy.
Mhm.
I think that's an excellent story. I think, and you know, if people don't like it, fuck off. That was
Yeah.
fantastic. What a fun story.
So I'll get her into NXT, let her check some of that stuff out. I like Raw. I've been trying to follow Raw, and I've been trying to, at least if I miss it, get the recaps of it. So, but I'm enjoying it, because I mean, you have to understand the thing that I like about it, and I wish, and you know, you don't, how to say this. I'd like to see AEW pull some elements to it, but in a different kind of way. It's like when I watch WWE, I feel like I'm watching the Super Bowl. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it is it's the Super Bowl of professional wrestling companies.
It really
It is the big show. It is the big, overproduced, super crazy, like overwhelming almost experience.
like they have all the graphics. They've got like everything. It's like, and I like the fact that they
You
had
can see the money when you
Right.
watch it. You can see
can.
the money that goes into it.
And I also liked the pregame, like they did for Clash of the Castle. They did a whole pregame like it was like like on like Fox, pregame football, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd really like for AEW to do something like that. You know what I mean? I know they kind of do like little things, but to have like a really cool like question and answer type of show, I think would be really awesome for AEW if they could ever get to that level. That would be a lot of fun. Not like try to like copy it or be like WWE, but have something like take some elements from it to like really like get you more involved in the story, because when they do those shows, they really are setting up those stories for when the matches are going to hit. And I think that would be more beneficial to fans if they could like get them hyped up a little bit more about the stories. And by
honestly,
like that would be cool.
Honestly, the promotional game has already stepped up a ton.
Yeah.
And the freshness of the product has increased volumes just in the last couple of months.
Yeah.
It has not always been that way. I can promise you that, Rafe. However, you got a company that's 30 plus years old, tons of money, lots of networking over the years and the decades. They've developed enough relationships to where they can do those kind of things with other companies and businesses, and they sort of have leeway there. AEW will get there. And what I was going to say is, I think Tony Khan is out for blood. I think we're going to start seeing a lot more tactics. He's very good at cherry picking the best parts to try to emulate. And I think we're going to see more and more of that. We'll talk about that obviously later. There were some words in the media scrum last night regarding his relationship with WWE or lack thereof.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think he's taking the gloves off. I think we're going to see a little bit more teeth moving forward.
Nice. So let's just get into it, man. Let's talk about All Out.
All Out was great. It was a great show. As a whole, it was fantastic. There's a lot of shit that I could say that wasn't great, but as a whole, looking at it, what an awesome show. What a good time. It was a bit long.
It's too long.
It's way too fucking long, but have you ever watched a WWE pay-per-view?
I don't know how long they are.
This was cake compared to that. WrestleMania runs like 2 days. Now it's like 12 hours of content. This was over the limit though. For the casual fan, this was way too much after a weekend already packed with wrestling, which is something also that Tony Khan mentioned. Yep. But yeah. Go ahead with your point.
Well, I guess my point is like, you and I were texting last night. It's like there's a couple matches they could have cut and put on Wednesday.
More than a couple.
And
I would say half the show could have been Dynamite or Rampage.
Exactly. And just kept it to like the highlights of the show, the title matches, things like that. If they would have kept it a tight 3.5 hours, it would have been better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. 5 hours and change is way too much for anything. For anything, for any product, for any company. I don't care how good it looks while you watch it. That's a long time to sit and watch one thing.
Right. So
I fell asleep and had to get up and rewatch some shit this morning.
She did.
It is what it is. That's how it goes. You run that risk.
So I'm going to run down real quick the matches that I thought were the coolest of the night.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the cuttable matches. I was like, oh,
I'm not going to
go.
I don't want to talk about. I don't want to hammer the matches I think should have been cut. That's pointless.
I thought about writing a list of all the shit I would have cut out of this show, and I decided not to. I'm going to be nice today.
It's not up to me. So it's up to Tony.
Let's focus on the positive. Enough people are talking about the negative. Let's talk about the positive. What's your favorite stuff?
So I'll tell you what I liked a lot, which I was very surprised that I was going to like because it was the third time I fucking watched it, was the mixed tag match. I really liked that match, man. I thought that was fun, but it was the third time I watched it. You know what I mean? So, but I still enjoyed it. I thought the Pac and the Kip Saban match was awesome.
Kip Saban is back.
Yeah, I know, which is
and
really
looks
cool.
shredded, looks great, seems super healthy.
Yeah.
I love the gimmick with the box.
Yeah,
excellent.
Kip's gone bye-bye, guys. Kip's gone bye-bye. Which was awesome.
Really, before we move on from Kip, I really wish Penelope would have walked him out. I think that would have been rad. It's no secret that they're a thing in real life.
I miss her.
That was a missed opportunity to get her on the show. When they had so much shit on the show that was unnecessary, get Penelope Ford out there.
Right. The trios match was okay. My favorite match was Swerve and the Acclaim.
wait, the trios match was okay?
It's okay to me. Yeah.
All right.
You may have a different opinion. I just thought it was okay. I
got hung up on that part. What did you say after that? I'm sorry. The trios match was okay, but what was better?
But I'm not saying it was better. I'm not saying one was better than the other. I'm not going to say that. I seriously thought I was going to be more excited about the trios match than I was. It was a good match, but it didn't like really get me pumped up like I thought it was going to get me pumped up.
I can't lie. Going into it, I was not that excited. I sort of kind of knowing going into it that Tony Khan said, I'm not going to introduce the titles, the trios titles till Kenny Omega's back and healthy. You already know who's going to win.
That's why.
And the fact that House of Black was gone and the fact that Death Triangle wasn't a part of it, immediately I was like, well, I don't give a shit then. Because as we talked last time, those were the two teams that I thought deserved this thing.
Me too.
They put in the work. They were the trios for the last 2 years. It's a bummer. It's a bummer in my opinion. But it's Kenny and the Bucks. Whatever.
Yep. So my favorite match, and then I'll turn it over to Tammy and see what she likes, was Swerve and the Acclaimed. I thought that match was the best. That was the top match for me. I have opinions on the other ones, but I'm just going to leave them alone.
One of the best matches by far, absolutely. And two of the best teams going right now.
Period. It was great.
Period.
It was exciting. It was fun. It had the entertainment. I think it was a well-rounded match. Not to shit on the trios match. Trust me, I love the Bucks more than everybody, than the next guy. I mean, Nick Jackson, I think he is the shit. Okay. But I guess I was just like, I felt like, okay, it's Dark Order and then Hangman gets in last minute. All right, that's cool. And it's, like you said, it's not the House of Black, which is a solid trios. It's not Death Triangle, solid trios. You know what I mean?
They were.
It was two guys in the Dark Order with Hangman Adam Page, who was just going after Kenny Omega, which is really didn't thrill me that much. It might have thrilled everybody else, and that's great. But for me, that fell short. But
I get it.
Still a good match. Not going to take away any of the athleticism from that match at all. Just the storyline, I guess, really kind of deflated it for me. But really dug the Acclaim match. I thought that was cool. Not happy with the women's shit and the four-way match with the ladies, but that's talk for another day. Tammy.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Okay.
But go ahead with the next. Go ahead.
I want to let Tammy hit on what matches she enjoyed, because those were the highlights for me. And then,
hey,
the greatest thing that's
my notes randomly.
Wait a second.
I enjoy.
Hang on a second.
I was gonna say you talked about all your highlights, but you got your background there. You got your scarf on. But the biggest highlight of the night for you didn't mention.
I'm about to mention it. The return of the ultimate heel, who's now probably going to be a babyface.
Biggest babyface in the business, man.
It's Mr. MJF. I know, right? He is. He's going to be the biggest babyface in the business.
That son of a bitch got cheered in Chicago.
Right. The only thing that I wish he would have cut a promo. That's what I wish.
We'll talk about MJF after Tammy gets to talk.
I wish he would have cut a promo.
You felt passionate about something a moment ago, so if you like
Did
to
I?
talk about it, I'm totally cool with that.
Who, me?
No, Chris.
No, I like where we're going though. He kind of
I'm just
went
gonna
down all his
randomly flip
highlights.
through the pages here, and I don't know what's gonna happen. Okay.
All right.
So
Here we
I'm
go.
just I can't read half my notes.
Are we gonna get some Tammy's note segments?
Well, maybe, but not really. So don't have your expectations, okay? Because I'm just looking through them and seeing if anything kind of comes out. I'm not gonna read them all.
The
So,
GCW spirit living within me, and on my shirt right now says Tammy's notes. Tammy's
Okay.
notes. Tammy's notes.
This is the problem. I didn't understand 0 Hour wasn't the name of the whole show.
That was
So I
hilarious.
was like all in the beginning, and I was like fucking like
Hold on. First of all, all in is actually a show as well.
I'm like, what the fuck? 0 Hour isn't the whole show? That's not even the show?
It's called
my
All Out.
God. Yeah, All Out 0 Hour was my best time in the night, because I was the most awake then. So
Your age is showing.
She's like, she heard the announcer go, "Stay tuned for All Out," and Tammy's like, "We're not watching the fucking show."
This is one of my favorite things about having you in this conversation, Tammy, is
What?
that
I'm the old person.
that you're such like a fresh faced fan, like you're just so go with the flow, and like the fact that you thought 0 Hour was the deal.
What's the real pay-per-view? She's like, "This isn't it." She's like, "What the fuck have I been watching for 45 minutes?" I said, "You've been watching the pre-show." The pre-show? What the fuck is the pre-show? We're going back.
So I have some real crisp notes from them, Ty, but I won't bore everyone with those. I'll just like pick out certain lines. Like this one. Okay, the first one with Sammy, Ty, Ruby, and Ortiz. Heelishness elevated. So like, that's all we have to say about that. And then the hook was the best part is the musician jumped in.
Oh, Action Bronson.
Oh, I thought you were okay. Yeah. Action Bronson was out there.
I'm just saying,
I almost went on Twitter. I almost made a graphic last night. Action Bronson is all elite. I wanted to do it so bad.
You should have.
Yeah. I got things to do, like sit around and watch TV and eat fucking cheese.
I'll be honest, I love this Kip Sabian versus Pac thing, but I was like, Kip's got some fairy moves, and then like, you know what I mean?
What?
Like,
Some what? Fairy moves?
Fairy?
Maybe it was fancy, but they were fairy moves too. I don't know.
Fairy moves?
Yes, he has a whole vibe that he came out from the Shire somewhere. What?
Kip Sabian?
Did you not know fairies kick your ass?
Kip Sabian? What?
Okay.
Like Lord of the Rings fairies?
None of you know anything about fairies.
Yes, we do.
Hold on. What the fuck, Rafe, did you just say? Lord of the Rings fairies? There's not a single fairy in Lord of the Rings.
It's right, the elves. I'm thinking the elves.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But what I'm saying is...
What is happening right now?
Then where are there fairies hiding in Lord of the Rings? Because there's no elves in a world that fairies.
There's none.
Don't tell the grown-ups.
I
know where the fairies live. Shh, don't tell the grown-ups.
Okay, so anyways, I was really awake and alive for this match, and I really liked it, but I didn't understand a lot of crazy things, like Orange Cassidy's there, and Pac told him to back off, and Kip's talking to a box, like a maniacal acrobat Englishman sci-fi character. I don't understand what's happening.
That was a beautiful moment when Orange came out and Pac looked at him and he grabbed the mic and he just said, "No,
we've done this before, and you know the result."
That was beautiful. It was beautiful.
And then Kingston versus Ishii, it's chop, 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 smack, 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 and then he wins, So then we go into
hey, rest in peace to Ishii's chest. Because Jesus Christ, dude, I
can't take all that violence, man. That hurts my chest.
That's the things I love is when you see somebody get welted up like that. My God, props.
It was. What
And
else
then
you got?
the ladder match, which was very strange because it felt like they were trying to do everything but have a ladder. They were trying to make other architectural kind of developments there. They were like,
They had no clue how ladders worked.
on, and they didn't understand how it all went. And so, like, I that was all weird. And of course,
Can you imagine? Can you imagine being somebody who works? Can you imagine being somebody who works for OSHA and watching that ladder match? Like, what the fuck? That's, you've done everything with a ladder except use it as a ladder.
Right.
What a ridiculous way.
Now, I commend the creativity, but they didn't execute it in a very cohesive way to send a like an artistic message. So
Agreed.
They lost on that. So, and then of course the Joker comes out with the mask, and we all know who it is the whole time, but whatever. We'll try to suspend some belief or whatever you call it there. And then then I have the trios championship, and let's see if anything stands out there. Yay, Kenny Omega. We still feel yay, Kenny Omega. That's something you're still feeling, I think. And
CM Punk doesn't feel that way. You're breaking character. You're breaking kayfabe right now.
I think I'm not going to even read my notes here, but all I have to say is Reynolds saved the day a lot of times, and he's an unsung hero in all of this.
Yes, Alex Reynolds. All right.
I think everything else is like stuff we already knew, so I'm not going to even mention it. And then Jade busted through that brick wall. That was fucking hilarious. I love
the She-Hulk, gear.
Yes, she looks fantastic on one level. Everyone looks great, actually. But actually, at the same time, if you really want to get into it, Athena looks like she's on a set of The Walking Dead, and then dressed as and then Jade looks like she's dressed for Hulk as Halloween. Okay, so I don't know. It was boring. I didn't like it
because of the contact lenses. I got it. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it was like boring. We are like, come on, we need something different. What the fuck are we coming to a pay-per-view with this shit for? I love that Jade has grown up before our eyes. We take nothing away from her, but shilling for fucking whatever show of Marvel or DC Comics or whatever the fuck she Hulk is. That's not the place for it, okay? I don't want to be an advertisement for some fucking series that's coming out. Go fucking do the series.
Canceled.
Go do the series. We want you to be a superhero, girl. We believe in you, but like that fucking, if you're gonna do She-Hulk makeup, don't leave it at your fucking sleeves. You didn't do the face enough. So bye. And the next thing on that is, okay, I really like FTR and Wardlow together, but I don't know if this was it for me. It was okay, and then I didn't understand the whole Samoa Joe coming out. That didn't make any
Joe.
I'm glad he's back. I was wondering where he was, but I was like, what does this have to do with anything? Okay. And then the Powerhouse, I'm not going to waste time with elaborating.
Hold on. Before you move on, I just want to talk about that Samoa Joe thing. Remember, before he left, it was that whole program with Jay Lethal and those guys coming in, and they're the reason he was gone for a little bit in kayfabe. The truth is he was out because he went to do the Twisted Metal TV show that was being filmed. But there was a reason for that story, and it did make sense. I'm glad you
put that together for me because I totally forgot. So thank you.
It's been a while, so I get it.
But why they picked FTR and Wardlow?
Then the whole break. But Satnam Singh, and then they broke the pencil, and then anyways, I love the 8-year-old girl bit. So
that was Dax's daughter, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I love that part. So that's cool.
That was fantastic.
And then I liked Ricky's new outfit, actually, and I had a lot of high hopes for that, but that didn't come. So Hobbs won. Okay.
That was a missed opportunity for sure.
For sure.
You know what? I actually really like them together, so I'm already resentful and biased, so that's why I don't comment too much. But I don't know. I like Ricky. I wish he would have won, but I like Hobbs too. But I felt like Ricky should have won with the storyline leading up to it.
Right.
That like there felt like an anti-hero kind of vibe going, and then he lost. So hopefully that comes back around. And then there was Swerve in Our Glory versus Acclaimed. Fucking entertaining. I did not expect these two, like, don't even seem on the same level at all. But wow, the Acclaimed really showed who they really are in that crowd, because they were all like wanting the Acclaimed to win. The
And
Acclaimed
talk
are,
about representation for Black Americans in professional wrestling.
you know what they have, you know what I love is that they had a faux pas when we first started watching. Like the whole, like they had made a comment and then they had gotten suspended for a little while, whether it fake or not. And I just love the fact when people can like just like give people chances. Like I love that. Like, hey, that wasn't cool. Kind of try to not to do that anymore. Understand why, and let's move forward. I love that more than demonizing a person. And the fact that they went from that level to the level they are now, they're so homegrown. And so these homegrown people I get really attached to in a company. So when they leave, I take it personally. So like I feel like they're fun and entertaining and silly, and they do a lot of vaudevillian type shit that's really like one of the reasons that I like wrestling. I like that old school vaudevillian type vibe and circus vibe. And that's why there's certain wrestlers I really appreciate for that reason. And they're one of them. They kind of have that. They definitely have the entertainment value. So I liked this. I was shocked that Swerve and Our Glory were not getting as much love as I thought they would, and that people were really going for the Acclaimed. And at the fucking press scrum, I feel like Keith Lee is a fucking class motherfucking act. I love him. Oh my God, he like understood that. He supported them, and I love that. We need more.
But Swerve's got the swag though.
Oh my
Swerve's
God.
got the swag.
Swerve really also was on board with that vibe. I think it's like we have our confidence in ourselves, so we don't worry about other people getting some love, because love doesn't take away from other people's love. And I wish every human knew this. Like there's enough to go around. If someone else is getting love, you can get that same amount of love. You're not going to take away from them, and they're not going to take away from you. And showing people modeling that as champions is important. And that's why I now super even more love both of them, because they really showed that. They're like, we're confident in ourselves. We want good competition. That only makes us better. And if everybody loves them, then that just makes us work harder and we're up to the task. That's what a fucking real person with soul and ambition that isn't a narcissistic, egotistical, self-centered person does.
Champs doing champ shit.
Yeah.
They genuinely, and both of them, even with Swerve with his kayfabe, like we're better than everybody, even with that, they both put over the Acclaimed, which was respectful as hell. I love that. That was great.
Yes.
Fuck yeah. That was great. Best match.
I didn't understand the whole daddy ass scissor thing, but that's okay. You know, and then the Tony Storm, Sheeta Baker hater thing, it was all good, but we've seen it before and we all knew Tony was going to win. So a little bit of a yawn there for me. And
I wish it was just like one girl.
I really hate this whole fucking Christian Cage Luchasaurus fucking Jungle Boy thing. So I think they're all individually talented people. I take nothing away from them personally, but this all is a fucking what the fuck ever. Get on with yourself. I don't care. I wish you well. I'm not trying to wish you bad luck, but not for me. I don't even want to talk about it. And then the whole
I liked it.
I'm trying to get through it.
I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic. Luchasaurus turning was awesome.
It was.
You know what? You can have that conversation, and I have no problem with it, but not for me.
Look, here's what I'll say. I didn't see it coming, and anytime something is unpredictable, I pop for that.
I like surprises. All right, Tammy, finish it up.
All right, I'm trying to run through.
She's trying to finish that jar.
Right, and then there was the House of Black.
Shine.
I passed the fuck out on this one, so that my notes was, I don't know, it's late. I'm sleeping through this, and then later I went and watched it again. So no, not to fear. And I'm so glad I did, everyone, because this is one of my favorite matches of the night, actually.
Which one?
Yeah, the House of Black with
Sting, Darby, and Miro.
You know, because
you liked it. Rafe just fucking grazed over that thing like it wasn't anything. I love that match.
It was really entertaining. I loved how Miro came out super strong. And I love that at the end, Sting like did the black mist thing and turned the table.
Yes.
You know what? As I've said in previous podcasts, Sting is the real star. He comes in, he kicks everyone's ass, he does everything that needs to be done, and he wins it every single time. And he's older than most of us, so fuck ageism, because that motherfucker does some shit and he entertains me, and he's the real star. And every single time, and even this match, he was the star this entire night. And they all made it entertaining, and everyone made it plausible. And I really love that one.
I love that match.
It was another Sting is the real star wrestle.
Yeah,
it was.
Really, truly was.
I love that match too. Don't get me wrong. I did.
Listen, when Sting did the mist, I was like, holy shit. And I texted you. I was like, guys, Sting has wanted to do this for decades. I guarantee it. Because back in the day when people were doing the mist and shit, he was probably like, that's so fucking cool, man. I wish I could do that. And he finally got the opportunity as a fan. Like, I've always wanted to, like, what's it like to spit a bunch of fluid in somebody's face like that? That's got to be really cool. Sting probably loved that shit. It was so good. What a great way to turn that, you know?
Yeah.
Somebody finally got Malachi like that. That's fantastic. And it's Sting, man.
Of all people.
Sting!
I know, it was cool. I like that match a lot too. I did too.
The final one was Mox and Punk, which I also slept through. So I went back and watched it fresh today. Was glad I did. But then as I watched it,
oh no, here's Cupcake.
I started thinking, why didn't they call this one Blood and Guts, man? Because these dudes were bloody, you know? They gave it all they had. It was a fantastic match. But
worthy title match.
It was really fantastic. They gave everything they had. They got really down and dirty. Both of them showing they were both shining in it. And Moxley just barely lost it. And I love that. So I think it was fantastic, but nothing beats the scrum after.
The media scrum and the cupcake.
It really doesn't, you know? He really said, what the fuck? What's going on?
Before we start.
Oh.
Tammy, I want to say that I love your outlook on everything that happened. It's such a nice, fresh, like, way to see the way that everything laid out. However, we grazed over a few things I just want to harp on real quick. Number one, the Jade Cargill thing. It's time to move on from Jade Cargill, I think. Her title reign has lasted long enough. I think our suspension of disbelief can only go on for so long. The whole adopting the green as a gimmick thing is awesome. However, she is green. The matches are not stellar every time. Somebody else needs that title. Right. It's someone else's turn. Jade can move on to something else. She's got her faction. She's got the whole thing going on. And Stokely, I don't know what's going on with him now. He seems like he has other priorities at the moment. MJ. So maybe it's time to push off of that and do something else. The trios match. I just want to say there was a missed opportunity here. Hangman Page should have stuck to his old alliances. And what I mean by that is the Elite had the opportunity here to reunite and become one. And Synergy could have once again taken over AEW. We had Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and Adam Page, the only four remaining members of the original Elite, still in AEW, in the ring at the same time, and it was squandered. Not that I want to see Dark Order deal with any nonsense, because they've had enough this year. By the way, I miss you, Alan Angels. I miss you, Stu Grayson. I don't know what's going on with Preston and Uno. I think Uno's injury might be kayfabe. I know that Preston's going through some stuff, aka 10. I'm glad that they didn't bring Brody's son out for any of this, because it wasn't great. But so the title match itself, I don't like, again, I just want to graze over this stuff. The title match, Moxley versus Punk, as good as I thought it would be. I didn't have super high expectations for that match. It was okay. It was not something I'm going to remember a year from now. John Moxley and CM Punk are both tremendous athletes. They're great performers. It was a very good match. But again, it's not something I'm going to like look back on in 10 years and be like, wow, that was really a killer. Like just, it changed wrestling. It didn't. Outside of those couple of things, this show was not fantastic. I think there's a lot more going on behind the scenes and a lot more happening that we won't really ever get the full story of, that explains a lot about why this show was so jam-packed with stuff, why they crammed so much into it. I think it was a mistake to make it this long. I think a lot of this stuff should have been left off this show. I think that the show hurt because of it. And I think that the product is starting to suffer noticeably.
Mm-hmm. There are elements of that I definitely agree with. Now, is some of it, all of this backstage controversy, is it a work? I think some of it is. I think it's a push.
Well, we can't just say it's a work. We have to address what happened. Let's talk about the scrum.
Tammy's media scrum, who she took influence from for this evening.
Tammy Punk.
She put on her best cosplay of CM Punk and ate her cupcake.
What did you guys think of the stuff that CM Punk said?
Well, I had read about that before. I knew that he had gotten into a lawsuit with Colt Cabana, and I believe it's over a podcast, right? And like he quit the podcast, and Colt got upset about it, something like that.
I think there's more to it than that, but probably. Yeah, that's kind of the long and short.
That's the gist of it. I felt that it was cool. It seemed like Punk was just completely aggravated at everybody hyping on this shit, so he just cleared the air. Which I thought was really cool. I'm glad.
That's one thing. That's one thing I think that was actually like the catalyst for why that shit went so south. I think Punk did not want to deal with this Colt Cabana stuff, and having someone ask that first question after that title match and all the story building, they wanted to ask about Colt first. And you guys know I did the video kind of alluding to this stuff with Adam Page and everything. I touched base on it a little bit. I think Punk immediately got fired up with that first question, and I think a lot of the stuff he said came out of a hothead.
I agree.
I think some of that stuff was not a work. I think we were not supposed to hear that opinion, because if you watch Tony's face, he's like, why are you saying this shit right now? He's like, I'm not going to stop you, but damn, dude.
Yeah, I know exactly. But it was cool. I did not understand the EVP anger he has. That I think might be a work. And even Tammy mentioned that from my understanding,
his aggravation
with Matt Jackson.
Matt Jackson is the one, supposedly. From what I understand, I don't know, because we're not fucking wrestling insiders, right? No. We're not journalists. We're fans. And trying to absorb this stuff, it sounds like CM Punk is upset because Matt Jackson supposedly is the one who was like, yeah, Colt Cabana got moved to ROH because of CM Punk. CM Punk's causing drama, blah, 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 blah. That's what CM Punk's angle is on this. He's saying that it's Matt Jackson, but also Kenny Omega. He tore into him a little bit for his comments about, I don't need to learn from people. I don't need to take people's advice. He found a way to direct a lot of heat at those guys, the three of them specifically. I can't. I genuinely don't feel like some of this stuff is a work.
Okay.
Some of it may be. Some of the stuff that's being publicized might be the work part. It may be an MJF situation where like there's some real life shit going on and they're just trying to capitalize on it. At the same time, I've never seen CM Punk do an interview like this pissed off and not like think before he speaks.
Wow. Yeah, he was very off the cuff. You could tell.
I mean, like normally he cuts these promos and stuff where he's like, you know, the famous pipe bomb and everything, where it's like a work shoot. This did not feel that way. This felt like a dude that was really frustrated and pissed off from the last few weeks of press and bullshit and accusations. And was like, look, if you're following fucking sources, make sure that this shit is legitimate and it's not just biased. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Needless to say,
it could be partial work, but there's definitely some shit happening.
Oh yeah, needless to say, they're going to be talking about it for weeks.
And yeah, supposedly there was an altercation afterward when Punk left. I guess the Bucks and Omega, like there was a confrontation. And Ace Steel was there, and some stuff happened. There's like tons of more stuff coming out every second, so we don't need to cover a ton of it in this podcast. Obviously, anybody listening or watching, you guys can go check this shit out for yourself. Watch the media scrum. Watch what Punk said. Notice the fact that, number one, the Bucks were not there. Kenny Omega was not there at the scrum. There was also no episode of BTE today.
Ooh.
First Monday in a long time that I have not seen an episode of BTE. So if it's a work, it's a heavy fucking work.
This is a hell of a work.
Because that's money out of their pockets.
Yes, it is. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
You didn't think about that, did you?
No.
It's Monday, bro.
Oh,
it's Monday. There should have been a good BTE today, and there's none.
But why not? Why wouldn't they do one?
Because of all the controversy between Punk and them.
Maybe they're trying to figure out what to say. Apparently, there were a lot of people are Fightful. Fightful is one of the sources that I trust. Fightful usually gets everything right. They don't bullshit. They don't go with people that are just outside of things. They normally only report factual things. Fightful is saying that Kenny Omega and the Bucks were talking about leaving the company last night.
Wow.
That doesn't make any sense.
It
does if you're unhappy with the way things are going. You know, if you get signed on as an EVP and head of creative and you don't feel things are going your way, you're going to want to quit.
There's a big difference between unhappy and we run this company. This is our livelihood and someone is shitting on us publicly.
Right.
Unhappy and potential lawsuit shit is two different things.
Right. That's true. So there's going to be a lot coming up, here in the future. We're going to hear from MJF on Wednesday, which is now everything is right in the world for me again, which I'm
the return of the Mac.
Right. So I'm really excited about that.
I have a question for you guys real quick before we wrap this up.
Mm-hmm.
What is Tony going to do to save the spiral from continuing? What can he do at this point?
He's got to step up, man. He's got to like put the hammer down like old Vince used to back in the day where they feared him more than they
fuck that.
He's got to get some order.
They should respect you.
Well, hold on, listen.
Order, fucking difference. That's fucked
up. Kingston got suspended not too long ago because of the altercation with Guevara, right? There was that altercation with Eddie Kingston and Sammy Guevara. Kingston had a tiny little suspension. Do you suspend your EVPs over conflict?
You would have to. You have to treat everybody I think you have to treat everybody fairly.
Yeah, but you shouldn't have that power over them. They should have some power too. Why? Otherwise, why are they executive vice?
Well, I don't necessarily maybe suspend them, but you need to that he needs to rein all this in. And what's the best way to do it? How is he going to do it?
The problem
Somebody's got to do it.
He hasn't put an organization and a structure together for anyone. It's not about punishment and reward all the time. It's about there's no structure and there's no long-term plans for things.
But at the end of the day, what's best for the company? Tony could spin all of this and say, hey, we're going to use every ounce of this.
He's out of his league as far as he's not a wrestler. He's not in a wrestling profession. He needs more professionals to listen to. It has nothing to do with punishing people or coming up with these arbitrary things. It's the fact that he's a little fanboy that bought all of this, and I respect that he loves it, but he's all of a sudden not listening to the people he loves. So it has nothing to do with punishment and reward and all this bullshit and taking a note from Vince McMahon. That's fucked up. That's a lack of imagination, and it's a lack of understanding humanity. So
that's
the thing is,
but anyway.
Okay, but it may not be, but I'm stating that what needs to happen is that people need to listen to each other, and you need to listen to people with lived experience. And this is something that goes through every realm of the world and life. We think we know better than the people that actually do it. And that is not the case. Only the people doing it understand. And if you don't defer to them first, you're fucked.
Okie dokie.
That's a statement.
That is a statement.
No, but it genuinely, so
someone needs to get the shit under control.
Yeah, and at what point can you say like, oh, well, I own everything? If I mean, genuinely, Tony Khan has the most money in this. Everything comes from him. At what point do you say, okay, these guys are my big talents, they're my big money makers, but I have to do something? Well, how do you balance that against knowing that you need these guys week to week, knowing that you need this talent, you need these storylines, you need these shows? The smartest thing to do, which is what they did with MJF, is turn this thing into a story they can use. The danger here is obviously what's going to happen behind the scenes. People are saying that Punk should be suspended as well. Should he be suspended just because he said a bunch of stuff? I don't think so. I don't think he needs to be. I also don't think that the Bucks and Kenny don't need any kind of reprimanding for drumming up business, essentially. More people have been talking about AEW in recent weeks because of all this CM Punk stuff than perhaps they were before that, especially while everybody was injured and nobody was returning, and there was like a dead period there. I think there were more eyes on this situation with people wondering, hey, what is CM Punk doing? What's going on? I don't think it's bad for business. And that's where that work aspect comes in. How much of this is real? Right. And I love not knowing. I can't wait to see the next week or so, the following days from now. We've got 2 days till the next Dynamite. I'm really looking forward to see what happens moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Same.
I'm just ready for MJF. Yeah, baby.
The boy's back. The boys.
All right.
And Stokely, my God, what a genius. This whole situation's been great. MJF, if he comes back now, forget the Pinnacle. This guy's got a faction, what, 8, 9 people deep now?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be awesome. Can't wait. It's going to be killer.
When does Enjoy come back? Does anybody know?
It's not coming back until probably, I think, December.
Oh, that's a bummer. If you're not watching Enjoy yet,
Go watch
the stuff they have. Watch the Tag Team Cup. Watch the single stuff they have. It's all good.
All good. All
so
good.
fun.
And fucking watch GCW, for God's sakes.
Pay
for the $20 a weekend where you get 3 shows. It's such a good product. If you like brutal shit, go watch GCW.
We're doing it.
All right. Well, there we have it. All right. Till the next time. Everyone have a good week, and we will see you.
By the way, follow me at Chris_MT podcast. Follow the Murder Theater podcast at
all
AEMT podcast.
Yep. AMT podcast. That's what it is.
And keep an eye on the YouTube. I'm going to be doing some weird stuff about more in-depth thoughts in the next coming weeks regarding a lot of this weird stuff about AEW, WWE, and everything in between. I also want to do a deep dive on the women's division in Impact because, like we said earlier, what a fantastic example of how you do a women's division correctly.
Exactly. And I'm going
Look
to
for me. I'll be posting some shit on the streets. I'll be approaching people, risking my life, talking about wrestling that I don't know anything about. So we'll see what happens with that.
The Murder Theater podcast Twitter is going to get more active, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. All right. Until next time, we will see you. Everyone have a great day and a great week. Peace.